Welcome back. In this video, we're going to write our business strategy on the My SME Manual. And the goal of this video is to have a written down business strategy ready for action that we can continue with the process based on a strategy. So let's jump over to the My SME Manual. You're going to scroll down to the table of contents and move to 1.3 business strategy. Under business strategy, we have value proposition, and there's an explanation of your value proposition. You have the unique selling proposition with an explanation, and you have the competitive advantage with an explanation. We're going to start with the value proposition, and based on my market research and what my business idea is all about, I will start with a focus point, and the focus point is simply fancy men's shoes for fancy occasions. The need, the market is looking for formal shoes. The urgency, 5,400 people in South Africa is looking for formal shoes monthly, which is a fairly large market that I can tap into. Logical solution, we will provide fancy shoes for fancy occasions. I'm going to just add in here, we provide custom-made fancy shoes for fancy occasions, and the accessibility, it will be physical and online. So we make sure that everybody who needs this can have access, especially in the Western Cape, and then ultimately moving the model or the business to the rest of South Africa. Let's scroll down. We're going to go now to unique selling proposition. I want to add as well, that is how simple your value proposition should be. All the data, statistics, and ideas that comes from the market and industry research you use to create a very simple, straightforward value proposition. Let's jump over to unique selling proposition. This is the most difficult part of your strategy. I want to make sure that you don't feel discouraged when you struggle with your uniqueness. This is more or less the biggest thing people struggle with when it comes to their business strategy. But again, keeping it simple, based on your market and industry research, based on the competitors, how can you go about to make sure that you are unique? The uniqueness is now definitely the flavor that makes you different, as well as different methods that your competitors couldn't figure out for you to make sure that your business model is rock solid. So let's get started. First of all, lead generation. How will I be different when it comes to generating leads? And the uniqueness will be my online marketing strategy. It's fairly obvious that if I have a shop in the mall, there's going to be feet coming into my shop. So that's not a unique selling proposition. My unique selling proposition will be, especially when it comes to lead generation, my uniqueness will be, I'm going to create an online campaign to bring feet into my physical shop, not just depend on the mall's marketing and feet in the shop to keep me busy. Right, the second part is lead conversion. How will I make sure that once people come into my shop, they buy from me? I will create specific sales pitches and methods for my sales staff to use. Right, an example of this would be, I'm not just saying this to be fancy, I actually have an idea for the retail where it comes down to, if you are this person, if you ever go into a shop in the mall or a shop wherever, and the salesperson comes to you, they normally say, can I help you with anything? And your normal response is, no, I'm just looking. That is one of the sickness of retail and shops in malls and so forth. My idea will then be to train my sales staff to, when they approach somebody, ask them, can I help you? And if that person says, no, I'm just looking, just change the topic. Don't just walk away. Ask the person, have you ever been here before? Just engage in conversation. If they say no, you can say, great, we offer this and this and this, these products, there's a special in that corner, etc. Get the person to engage in your shop more practically. If the person says yes, they have been in the shop, I will then divert my pitch and say, great, note that we've got a special on men's shoes, 25% off. That is the section, help yourself. There's methods you can use to really work with your sales pitches to get people to engage with your sales staff and so forth. So that's my idea when it comes to lead conversion. Lead satisfaction, nothing other than excellent customer service. In other words, if I say your shoes will be done in 7 working days, it needs to be 7 working days. Don't tell the customer on the 7th day that, oh, by the way, your shoes is not ready today. Come back in 5 days. That makes people very upset. Rather, if you see halfway through your promised service time that you're not going to make the deadline, give the client a call halfway through immediately when you know there's going to be a problem. Don't wait until the last day to postpone. Rather be proactive than reactive. And then lead retention, I will work from my side to keep a database of my customers. And I'm not going to abuse them with spam and specials and all that nonsense. I mean, everybody can surely agree that we get about almost 5 to 10 spam emails per day where brands is trying to sell us something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about maybe one proper email without any fluff, straightforward, to the point, promoting a special or keeping the people involved in the brand and so forth. That's what I think is a better approach when it comes to newsletters, getting people back into the shop. This is just the most obvious method, but there's many things for you to think about in terms of how can I get somebody, if he has been involved in my business and bought something from me, to come back and buy again. Right, so that's my unique selling proposition. Also fairly simple, but it is complicated and sometimes takes a long time to figure out. I want to encourage you, just be patient. We're going to jump over to competitive advantage. And I've learned that normally before somebody buys, logically, they want to know what's included for me, or in other words, with them. How much does it cost? How long will it take? Is this accessible for me, yes or no? That's what the normal consumer wants to know before they buy. So if you create a package that answers all these questions, it makes your sales pitch easier. It gives the customer a direct idea of what they're getting. You can add value in your package that can increase your pricing, which means you don't necessarily need to undercut your competitors because of the added value. It makes sense. So it's all about the logic and the sensibility when it comes to your competitive advantage. I'm going to focus on 2 packages. My first package will be a limited edition shoe type. Limited edition shoe. Right, that's my first package. My second package will be custom shoe. Let's start with a limited edition. What's included in the product? I'm gonna just create a new line there and look to bullet. I like my bullets because it just helps me to create a bit of neatness into my blueprint, right? So I'm going to say here what's included in the service. It's going to be a limited. The first thing that's included is it's a limited. The first thing that's included here, it's a limited edition shoe, and I'm going to make 25 of each pair. I'll add 3 pairs of socks. And what this will help me with is it's going to help me to add the value of the shoe. Like if I sell the shoe at 1,990 Rand, I'm about 100 Rand more than Aldo, which is my competitor. I want to justify that. So I'm not going to necessarily undercut them. I'm going to still stay in the same price range, but I'm going to add value to my product that's going to make it more sensible to buy from me instead of the competitors. I'm going to throw in there 3 pairs of socks. This also gives me a branding opportunity. So I can make a fancy sock range or a trending sock range. In South Africa nowadays, socks are trending. So I can make a fancy sock trending vibe, and then I can add my branding to that. Okay, so it's like a win-win. It adds more value, it's going to get me more money in, plus my brand goes out there into the world for people to see. Right, so that's what I'm going to add in this package. It's going to give my package a bit more weight. My price now will be 1,990 Rand, 100 Rand more than my competitor, but I put in a bit of extra weight into my package. The time frame, it's going to be immediate. The process, very simple, buy in store or online. That's the process. Requirements, in this case, it's not applicable. I'll show you now an example of where that is applicable. Accessible to people in Bellville or online shoppers. I can ship it to them at no extra cost. And there you go, that's my first package. My second package, custom shoe, is going to be a bit different. So what's included in my custom shoe package is going to be a custom made shoe. The clients or the customers' initials, will be visible on or in the shoe depending on what they prefer. I will add 3 pairs of socks. And that's included in the custom shoe package. The cost, I'm going to make this to get my product in the market and make sure that I gain some traction without scaring people away. I'm going to start it off at 2,500 Rand. Once I've built a database and cash flow is flowing in the business and my brand's growing, I'm going to slowly but surely increase this to 2,900. Maybe in 6 months and 12 months it will go to a 3,490 until I've hit a mark where I believe my competitor or rather my customers aren't willing to pay this amount for the product. Right, so that's my thought pattern when it comes to launching this unique product. The time frame, 7 working days. Again, I'm going to add, if I say to my client it's going to be 7 days, it's going to be 7 days. If it's 8 days, the client's upset, you will not come back because you've broken trust. So when you see after 3 days there's a problem, you won't deliver in 7 days, rather call the client and tell him, I won't be able to deliver. Please excuse me, this is the reason why. But never leave that phone call with the deadline hanging in the air. Always give a solution to the problem, always. And that's where you say it might not be ready in 7 days, but we're going to aim for 10 days. So 3 days after the original deadline, you'll have your shoes. And just make sure that you then get to that process that you can deliver. And then your client will not necessarily be super happy, but at least they know you're honest, straight up, and proactive from the start. The process, this is where the process becomes interesting. We're going to have a couple of steps. Step 1 is a shoe fitting. So I need the customer to come in to fit and size his shoes. Step 1. Step 2 is the production, is the shoe production or product creation. And number 3 is the service delivery, or rather, let's rather say shoe handover. Almost like you're handing over this beautiful product to the client that paid for it, and this is now theirs with their initials and so forth. Right, requirements. We need the customer's feet size. Right, that's what I need for this in order to make the service reality. Accessibility, it's going to be available for people in Bellville, Western Cape, and ultimately online as well. Right, so there you have it. That is how I create my packages. This gives me a great idea of what I can sell. The next step that's very important, which we're going to dig into, is my financial strategy. I will see you guys in the next video.